A musical experiment, excuse me, using the electrical signals generated by plants used in chemotherapy is going to be offered to cancer patients to help them cope better with the stressful environment of treatment. Maggie's, the cancer support charity, is working with the musician Helen Anahita Wilson, who wanted to make the chemo experience better after she went through it herself. Nicola Stanbridge has been talking to those involved.
Every single sound that you hear comes from a medicinal plant and the bioelectricity generated by living organisms, because we are all bioelectrical beings.
Composer Helen Anahita Wilson. We can hear her music from plants involved in the evolution of chemotherapy because they're wired up with electrodes to capture electrical charges. Then Helen converts this data into notes.
For every plant recording I made, and there's 28 in total, I assigned a different sound for each one. My favourite one is the Madagascan periwinkle, used to treat leukemia and Hodgkin's lymphoma. The petals are really beautiful and really fine, and they give an extraordinary varied signal. So in the music, all of the harp melodies come from the petals of Acanthus roseus. There's the European yew tree, used to treat breast cancers and metastatic cancers. If I record the bioelectricity from the trunk, I receive a really fat, dense signal.
Plants have been evolving for 500 million years compared to just a human species, meagre 7 million. And in that time, they've evolved multiple different properties.
Consultant oncologist Professor Richard Simcock from University Hospitals Sussex.
Chemotherapies are often referred to as cytotoxics because they attack different parts of the mechanics of cell division. And because cancer cells divide more often, relatively unreliably, it's a weak point that chemotherapy agents can attack. What we're looking for in plants is toxins that attack normal cell division and seeing if we can extract them and enhance them to use specifically against cancer. Botanical elements that can have action against cancer in vitro, in the laboratory, is enormous. The challenge for scientists has always been to extract that, to be able to deliver that usefully in a human. And the story of Taxol is one that started in the 1960s, that's the yew tree extract. It wasn't until the late 80s that we were able to demonstrate that it could be useful for people.
Where did the idea of a composition for chemotherapy come from?
I had chemotherapy in 2020 and I found it extremely challenging, very frightening. And when I learnt that a lot of the drugs being administered were naturally derived from plants, it demystified the drug in some way that I found helpful. The acoustic profile of the hospital is not terribly conducive to a positive patient experience. You've got machines that are beeping and whirring. You can hear the sounds of other people in the ward who are having a really difficult time. I became interested in thinking how we might smooth out that acoustic environment, connect back to nature in some way by listening to those same natural sources.
Catriona was the first visitor to Maggie's cancer centres to take a listen to Helen's work.
Certainly this piece of music, it was very atmospheric and really made me feel like I was somewhere else. I was in a summer garden. I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. You're grateful that you can get treated, but the environment is scary. The first time to pretty much most of the day. I was allowed to take a friend with me the first time, but pretty much after that, you're not. They obviously have things like commercial radio on, and that can be a bit annoying. But they're trying to create, I suppose, quite an uplifting environment.
There are definitely things that we can do in the communal spaces in hospital. I remember waiting for my first chemotherapy session. They started playing Prokofiev's Dance of the Night, theme tune to The Apprentice. It's a very menacing piece of music.
Technologies allow us to do that. Noise-cancelling headphones, tablets, devices that allow people to access different resources. The creative arts are a good way for people to approach their cancer. We've worked with artists such as Brian Eno in our local hospitals, who's provided light installations and music as a place of solace and reflection for people affected by cancer. We cannot make chemotherapy easy because it isn't, but we can always seek to make it easier.
That was Nicola Stambridge reporting. Anything that makes chemo easier has to be welcome. It's 9 minutes now. Now,